Hey there, this is Ross Izzard. This is the Backcountry Fly Fishing Podcast, where we talk about fly fishing in more interesting places. This is the end of season 6, which is kind of a crazy thing to say, actually. I feel like we covered a lot of ground this season. We talked about a ton of fishing stuff, including hoppers, which, by the way, I'm recording this in early July. I've pretty much been throwing nothing but hoppers for, I don't know, at least a month. I don't really plan to change anytime soon. But we've also talked about backpacking and what we pack for that. We've talked about when something becomes an overnight. And we've talked quite a bit about some pretty heavy philosophical stuff like truth and consequence in the backcountry and sort of why we're out there doing this, which has been a recurring theme in the podcast. And to be honest with you, one of the most encouraging things for me has been that the podcast has seemed to connect with and help people on two different fronts, right? The first one is obviously the fishing front. So I got a bunch of emails this season from folks who did their first alpine lake trip and they used the tactic that we talked about here, caught a fish, sent me a picture. Someone else took his grandson fly fishing for the first time, caught a bunch of fish. Another one was exploring a canyon for the first time, using a dry dropper setup, caught a bunch of fish. Another one started using hopper patterns for the first time, catching fish. And that's awesome, right? Because obviously catching fish is fun. And honestly, if you're just starting out, that sort of confidence boost that you get from that is huge. And so I was really happy to see that. But also I've been really excited to see people connecting with the deeper part of what we're doing here. Because yes, it's fly fishing, of course. We're out there, we're trying to catch fish, usually trout. And that is part of it, for sure. You can't remove the fly fishing from backcountry fly fishing. But it's also a lot more than that, right? And it brings in a lot more than that, not just in terms of skills and gear and knowledge and activities. It's not just about the fact that you're also backpacking and hiking and camping and doing all the stuff that comes along with that, which is not really part of mainstream fly fishing, but also about the fact that this activity demands more of you, more tenacity, more willingness to push through suffering when you're going through a hard hike or you're climbing up a mountain to an alpine lake or you're pushing through heavy brush to get to a stream or you're working your way through a hot canyon in the summertime or whatever that might be. More self-reliance, the idea that you are going to be out there maybe by yourself, maybe with other people, but in any case, once you're out there, you're kind of just out there, right? There's not a grocery store down the road. You can't just go back to your car and drive home. You've got to actually be able to be out there with what you need, know how to use it, and to be self-reliant and self-sufficient. And then going along with that, you have to be comfortable with yourself. You've got to have a level of self-trust to do this. And, you know, that last piece is particularly fascinating to me because that's why I do this, right? Yeah, I mean, I love catching fish. I like tying flies. I'm fascinated by fly fishing itself. But as I've said many times on the podcast, I'm really primarily fascinated with personal development and growth and character development. And I think those things, you know, you think about all the stuff that we want in ourselves, and it's a growth mindset. It is the courage to do something new. It is persistence. It is tenacity. It is grit. It is trust in ourselves. It is confidence. It is mastery. And that's really what I'm pursuing out there. And that's why I go and do this crazy thing. When I could go down the road and catch a fish at a pullout, 20 feet from my car, I go do this other version off in the backcountry, off in the wilderness, because it gives me something that goes beyond fly fishing. It's something that carries over into the rest of my life, that spills over into the rest of my life, that helps me develop the mindset and the traits and the self-confidence that I need to be successful in the other parts of my life. And there's an incredible amount of value in that. And it's been really, really awesome for me to see and gratifying for me to see you guys grabbing onto that and running with it, right? So I got a message from somebody this season who listened to a podcast about why we go camping alone, and he packed up his stuff, decided to walk further than the normal car camping spot, and he camped by himself for the first night. And he ran into a moose. He saw a snake. It was kind of scary. He said he was up for a good chunk of the night stressing about it in the woods. And then he told me about it. And I said, man, that's how it goes. When I first started camping alone, that's exactly how I felt. It's a big, scary thing until it's not, right? I heard from someone else who made his first serious hike in his 60s to an alpine lake because he had never done that before. It had always seemed kind of intimidating, but now he feels like he was ready to make the hop. And yeah, it was hard and it was probably kind of scary for him, but he made it up there and he caught an awesome fish. And that's incredible. And sort of hearing folks that are willing to do that, to step out of their comfort zones, to push the envelope, to step into the wilderness, not just because it's pristine, not just because it's beautiful, not just because we appreciate it as an incredible, natural, wild space, but because they really want to grow as individuals through the sport of fly fishing, and more specifically through the sport of backcountry fly fishing, which really is kind of a different thing in a lot of ways, has been really incredible for me to watch. And now look, that doesn't mean that we all think about this exactly the same way. It doesn't mean that you're going to view it the same way. It doesn't mean that we don't have folks who don't, give a shit about any of the philosophical stuff and are really just interested in catching fish. That's all okay too, right? You're allowed to do this however you'd like to do it. You're allowed to approach it however you'd like to approach it. But that deeper piece, that meaning piece, that connection with ourselves and with our minds and with our spirits when we're out there, and the growth that spurs, is a really exciting thing for me. It's the most exciting thing about what we do, and seeing you guys grab onto that, fall in love with it, chase it down, pursue it, push through being afraid, push through being intimidated, push through feeling like you can't do something, and then going and doing it is really, really awesome. And I hear from a lot of guides, I hear from a lot of dudes who spend a lot of time outside and they're listening and they're having fun, and that's great. But man, the guy who's going camping by himself for the first time, the guy who's doing his first big hike to an alpine lake, the guy who shoulders his pack for the very first time and leaves his car to go fish somewhere 4 or 5 miles off into the wilderness, that's a different thing. And man, what an incredible journey for you all that I feel enormously fortunate and blessed to be a part of, even in a small way. So thank you for the messages, guys. I have really, really enjoyed this season. I feel like I enjoy every season a little bit more. I feel like that might be true for a lot of you too. I've certainly gotten more feedback this season than I ever have before, so that's awesome. Please keep it coming. And I am really looking forward to where we go from here. So we're going to take a short break here because I've got a bunch of trips stacked up, including some backpacking trips. And so I'm going to be running around for a little bit. And I hope you guys are going to be out there enjoying this sort of primo supremo backcountry season that we're coming into here. But we'll be back in probably a month, maybe 5 weeks. It depends on how quickly I can get the next season together. And then we're going to keep rocking with season 7. And we've got a lot of really interesting topics on deck already for that. I don't think we're going to be running out of stuff to talk about anytime soon. So I'm really excited about that. We're actually working for the first time on some really interesting partnerships with companies and with folks that are aligned with who we are, right? We are not a gear seller. We are not a tactics purveyor, although we do talk about it sometimes. We're not the guy that's going to sell you a silly clip that you hang on your vest. We're looking at stuff that really matters, stuff that I use out in the field, stuff that I trust out in the field, brands that sort of understand and connect with why we're doing this crazy thing. And we're sort of exploring that too. So I think that may be part of coming seasons too, with the understanding that our focus is always going to be on staying true and authentic to what we're doing in the backcountry. And to the extent that that is possible with partners who are doing it right, rad. Sign me up. If it's not possible, then we'll walk right on by that. Because, I mean, let's be honest. I've got a day job. I'm doing the podcast for free at this point. I'm having a great time. Would love to work with awesome people, but also not going to compromise the core ethos of what we're doing here. And certainly not going to do anything to jeopardize the sort of genuine connection and experience that we are finding with this activity, and that I hope a lot of you are finding through the podcast. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed the season. If you have questions or thoughts about any of it, please do let me know. You can send me a DM on Instagram. You can email me at backcountryflyfishingpodcast@gmail.com. You can stalk me on the internet and find me somewhere else. I'm not sure if it will get through, but you're welcome to try. Feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to chat. I have some folks who have questions and they say, well, I didn't know if it was okay for me to ask you the question. It's like, I mean, dude, of course it's okay. Like I'm here talking about it, and I love answering questions. So feel free to do that. If you haven't had a chance to review the show, please do that. Whether that's on Spotify or Apple or wherever you happen to be listening, it really does help. If you have feedback, if you have episode ideas, if you have criticisms, whatever you might have, please do send those to me because I'm really, really excited to keep growing this thing, to keep thinking through how we make it even better, and to think about how we communicate the stuff that you guys most want to hear in the coming seasons. So thank you guys for another awesome season. I'm going to go ahead and close us out here for season 6. And I cannot wait to see you back here in about a month for season 7. In the meantime, please be safe. Please be responsible out there, especially if you're in the West. It's really dry, guys. Don't mess with fire. It's not a good idea. Partially because we don't need the smoke, and partially because you really don't want to be that guy. I promise. So please be careful with yourselves. Do it right. Push hard. Be responsible about it. Catch your fish. Take your pictures. Send them to me if you're so inclined. And I will see you back here real soon. Till next time, this is Ross. Maybe I'll see you out there. Especially because I can't wait to get back on the trail.